Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Peter here. Today's video is from the house of Dusita, which is a brand new niche house from France. Each of the fragrances is inspired by a poem, and I'm going to give just my first impressions of each of the fragrances in the line and let you kind of know roughly what I think before I delve into doing full reviews later. So the first one is called Melodie De L Amour, and I'll read you the little snippet of the poem on the back, which reads, "My feeling for you is like a flower blooming in an empty room." So when you open the sample up, it opens up like this, and the perfumer also created the artwork. So very, very nice. And this one contains gardenia, tuberose, and a blend of 150 variety of white flowers enhanced by rich golden notes of wild honey. At the heart, an exquisite accord of pure cedarwood and the opulent staying power of musk. In the base we have creamy peach, sweet Italian broom flower, lily of the valley, and Indian jasmine. So I definitely agree you get a lot of white floral with this. You definitely, I would say the main note to my nose would be the tuberose, and you do smell the jasmine too. It's a very sensual, creamy white floral. I think the honey note is very subdued, it's subtle, it's not, the honey isn't a strong element. I think it's in the background just lending a little bit of sweetness without ever being particularly a sweet fragrance. It is definitely a white floral heavy fragrance. I can already smell the cedarwood coming through. So you get the roughness and darkness of the wood coming through and balancing with the white florals. Very pretty. I've actually smelled quite a few tuberose heavy fragrances, but this smells very good quality. It's nicely balanced. I would say personally this is unisex, but depending on how you feel on white florals, not every man is comfortable wearing a heavily floral scent. This is mostly, in my opinion, focused on tuberose and with the noticeable cedarwood background and a bit of the jasmine. Very well blended. I think it's definitely good quality. You can smell that quite clearly that it's well made. The next one is called Issara, and the poem reads, "Here where the tree once stood is now a shelter from ancient rains." So with this one, the notes are brisk, fresh green pine, blended joyfully with subtle, soft herbal notes. The heart contains coumarin, hay, rich balsamic notes of vetiver bourbon, and pine leaf. The base notes of musk, ambergris, and oak moss. So this one to me is quite sweet. The coumarin is definitely one of the main notes in the fragrance. So in the opening you definitely sense the pine, you get the herbal element. It's green, it's woody, it's herbal. But straight away behind that is the coumarin, and coumarin to me smells like, it's a combination of things really. It's like vanilla and hay and coconut and tobacco and almond. It's kind of an unusual sweetness, but quite nice. I believe coumarin is actually the very first synthetic ever created in perfume. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe so. So you will smell fresh pine needles and coumarin. This is a little bit unusual. I've never smelt that combination before of coumarin with pine. It's definitely quite different. I can't say I've ever smelt anything that smells particularly exactly like this. I would say it's unisex, and probably better suited to the fall and the winter, maybe even the spring. But if you're very familiar with coumarin, then imagine that with pine and herbs, and you're very close. This one to me is one of the most simplistic from the line, but it's nicely balanced. But yeah, it comes across fairly simple and likable, and a little bit different. I would say the scent itself is quite soft and more subtle. This one feels like it would stay a little bit closer to the skin and be a little bit more of a kind of a comforting scent, I would say. but you might really like it if you like coumarin and you like pine. The next one is called Le Sillage Blanc. The poem for this is: light fell on us, a discreet light, making its paved way through the chill and dusty air, and I was reading your love. So the notes in this one are, and this is the artwork. So the notes for this are rich, bittersweet orange blossom and neroli, with ylang ylang, English leather, artemisia, a hint of green freshness of Persian galbanum, and the base notes are musk, Indian ambrette seed, green woody notes, oak moss and patchouli. So with this one, to me the main note that you will smell is definitely the galbanum. If you've tried Macaque by Zoologist, it has the same intensity in the opening of that, with a very strong galbanum note. But you do definitely smell the orange blossom and neroli, which gives it kind of almost a soapy quality, because I feel neroli and orange blossom is used quite heavily in fragrances that give a very clean, soapy vibe, like I think Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford. You know, these very clean, fresh scents. So this, to me, is a combination of a dirty green galbanum mixed with fresh, clean, bright neroli and orange blossom. So it's both slightly dirty and green and woody, at the same time as very clean and soapy. You do start to quickly get a subtle sense of the leather in the background, which to me smells like black leather. This is definitely interesting, and again quite different. I don't know anything that's kind of combined this particular arrangement of notes with having, you know, the dirty green aspect of the galbanum, the soapy quality of neroli, and the, you know, the note of leather in there as well. I think that's quite unusual. I think you have to be a fan of green soapy scents to really enjoy this fragrance. I do think it's nice, and I think it's well blended and balanced. So it's very pretty and completely unisex. A man or a woman could wear this, but this one is a little bit unusual. I can't compare this to anything. The next one is called La Douceur de Siam. I'm sorry, my French is not very good. Poem for this reads: the twilight hour comes, even my grief is swept away by the anonymity of life. So the notes for this one are rose de May, frangipane, creamy champaca, carnation, ylang ylang and violet leaf. In the heart you have cinnamon, Thai shallot bark, vanillic spice from Siam, vanilla absolute, Mysore sandalwood, and rare amber and ambergris. And this is the beautiful artwork for the fragrance, very pretty on the inside there. So with this one, it has a sense of a classic perfume, almost not quite vintage, but more like a classic floral. You definitely get the mix of florals. You get the soft rose, the sweetness of the frangipane and the creaminess of the champaca. It's very well blended, and I think you get the smoothness of the ylang ylang. To me, when I smell ylang ylang, it's almost like breathing in a thick mist or a fog. It's very, very smooth. I think it's very well balanced between all of them. Nothing is trying to overtake anything. It's just like its own kind of thing. It's unique. It's created something new rather than smelling specific things. It's harmonious. It's got harmony to it. I think this is actually really pretty, but to me, in my opinion, it's 100% feminine. I'm sure there are guys that are comfortable wearing this, but from my opinion, it screams femininity. It's very, very pretty. I would really enjoy smelling this on a woman. I think it's very well done. The sweetness is subtle in my opinion. I don't particularly get too much of the cinnamon, which I think is a good thing personally. And the vanilla is more subtle in the background. It's floral heavy, but it's light at the same time. It's not a strong, overpowering floral. This is more light and airy and soft and delicate and very pretty. So it's not going to overpower the wearer. Beautifully composed floral fragrance for a woman. What I like about this fragrance is the way that it balances and the softness of it, I think lends itself to almost any age. I don't think it matters if you're 20 or 80. I think literally any age woman can wear this and smell appropriate. It doesn't smell like a young person's fragrance. It doesn't smell mature. It just lends itself to whoever wants to wear this would smell fantastic. I do think it's very, very well done. This is one to check out if you like very gentle, soft, very pretty florals. And the last one from this house, which actually is getting the most attention, is Oudh Infini. And the poem for this one reads, "Dawn in the sky, a tiny stream of gold flows and expands imperceptibly until it covers the whole sky and turns itself into silver." And the artwork is a little sketch of a rose. So the notes for this is oud from Lao, rose de May, orange blossom, and the heart notes of Siamese benzoin, Indian Mysore sandalwood, long-lasting vanilla from Madagascar, musk, and civet. So, yeah. This one, 100% you smell the quality. There's no question that this uses real oud. I can smell the civet in the opening, which gives it a animalic fecal note in the opening. So you definitely smell the kind of the funkiness of the civet, and you also get the oud right there up front. It shouts oud, but it's not the most animalic or dirty kind of oud, in my opinion. I've smelled ouds that are a lot more intense, a lot more dirty, a lot more polarizing. This isn't too bad in my opinion, although you can definitely smell, you know, an animalic barnyard touch to it. But that could also be the civet lending itself to the kind of barnyard smell. But it's definitely there. You definitely smell, you know, its quality is real oud, and you're definitely going to pick out the civet. The rose is soft and in the background, but very pretty. My understanding of rose in perfume houses that have to regulate themselves to Ifra and the EU standards and the regulations is that any kind of, you know, natural rose absolute is limited to something like 0.07% of a final formula. So there's only so much you can physically use in a perfume to make it legal. So I think why the rose feels probably softer in the background is because she's literally used the entire amount of rose legally possible in the perfume to be able to still pass the regulations. So, you know, this isn't rose heavy. I would say she's used, you know, like I say, what she can to be within the regulations. So the rose is soft, but you definitely do get, but you definitely pick it out. It is there, it's not completely hidden, but for me the focus is very much on the oud, and you are going to get barnyard animalic undertones from the oud and also the civet, which enhances it further. This one, I feel like I should give a warning to this one. If you don't like oud, then obviously this you're going to struggle with this one. People that are new to oud, this might not be the best start because it's going in kind of in the deep end. You're going to have to really appreciate the more dirty variety. So this to me is a fragrance that you will either absolutely adore and fall in love with, or you really won't like at all. I don't think there's a middle ground with this, and it all depends on how you feel about a slightly more skanky oud and the note of civet. I do think really you get what you pay for. These are expensive, but you're buying natural, higher quality oils, so that's the reason. The presentation is also lovely. I'll have that up on the screen. It comes in a very nice display box. Personally, I don't really use boxes. They get hidden in a drawer, so for me it's not an important factor, but I know a lot of people do like presentation. So from the line, I would say this one is by far the most polarizing. I either love or hate, but the quality is unquestionable. I think this one, as it develops, gets less barnyardy. I think the civet kind of acts more as a top note and kind of mellows out as it develops into the mid of the fragrance and becomes a lot less polarizing. And I think within sort of an hour you would appreciate this more if you're not particularly a fan of that kind of skanky variety of oud and civet. But great quality, very Middle Eastern inspired, I would say. And yeah, I can see a lot of people really liking this. There are a lot of people that like this kind of strong oud. My personal favourite from the house is Douceur de Siam, the very pretty floral for a woman. I think this one is really lovely. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing them properly. I will be doing full reviews on each of them. I will mention the pricing for this house. It is €395 for the 50ml, which in pound sterling is £340, and in US dollar that's $420. So these are one of the more higher end niche. They are expensive, but the high pricing just comes along with using higher quality natural oils and the presentation coming in a beautiful display box. So, you know, the pricing is very individual and up to you. That is my brief overview of each from the house. Personally, there's none that I would buy myself for my own collection, just because I feel they are more feminine in style. Although I consider them unisex, they lean on the feminine more. Apart from, I would say, Oudh Infini, which is probably more masculine due to the skanky kind of dirty nature of it. And also Le Sillage Blanc, I think, is truly unisex. I don't think it leans either way. But certainly Melodie De L Amour, Issara and Douceur de Siam feel a little bit more feminine. I think you can tell the perfumer has, you know, a feminine touch to her art. That's my thoughts on the house so far, and I will be doing full reviews on each of them very soon. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye guys, take care.